When I first saw this video, it really struck a nerve because it took me back to my childhood. I grew up in a neighborhood that was dominated by Crips and the BGs, aka Baby Gangsters, was running things from like 13 years old down. Okay. I went to Cherry Elementary, Toledo, Ohio. I grew up on North Detroit Avenue. Right, on that borderline, right around the corner from the original Jeep plant, as Jeep was founded in my hometown of Toledo, Ohio. And I remember when I was in like the 5th grade and I had one of my best friends who stayed around the corner from me. He had issues with the BGs from the neighborhood Crip gang known as X Block, and pretty much they were bullying him, jumping him, chasing him home from school on a daily basis. And, looking back at it, it wasn't cool then and it's not cool now. I remember he would confide in me about being scared and not knowing exactly what to do. He lived with his mother. His mother was an older woman who, she spent most of her time at work. And he pretty much only had me as a friend at that point for the most part. And I remember one day, he said that they were gonna jump him after school. And I was like, well, you know what? I'll walk you home. Now, I had to also pick up my younger brother, shouts out to Chef Yoda. But at the time, he was in kindergarten, he don't know what the fuck is going on, and nor does he need to. It has nothing to do with him. He's too young for any of that, and he doesn't have any reason to be involved in any of that. But I said, you know what? Follow me. I'm gonna go pick up my baby brother. And I'll walk you home, because my house was pretty much, between the school and my friend's house. I don't really want to say no names, but, so we said, I came up with an idea. You know what? We're going to take the long route. They're going to be waiting over for you at the field over by the Collinwood building. And, we're going to take the long route. So I picked up my younger brother, took a couple of side streets, and we started making our way. We got over to like Berdan, where Manhattan starts, right there where Cherry is at, Thousand Island. And, from the field where they was expecting everybody to walk at, that's where everybody walks across that field after school. So you can see, it's like a open path where you can see where we were at, So they were all over there, and it was probably about like half a dozen to a dozen niggas, and they saw us and they was like, there they go, and they start running towards us. Now, it's rush hour right after school, about 3:15, 3:30. I'm not about to be taking my baby brother and just running across streets in front of cars because, for one, they're not after me in particular. And two, he's too young and I don't want to risk his life nor my life trying to run across the street because niggas is chasing us. On top of that, they already knew that I'm going to fight back because that's what I was taught, for one. And two, they're not after me in particular. They're after my homeboy. So to backtrack onto how we got to this point, they was fucking with him one time and they were, you know what I'm saying, pretty much jumping on him, you know what I'm saying, multiple cats on him at one time. And he had a can of mace. And he maced one of the niggas. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think, man, we all kids like 11, 12 years old. You know what I mean? So he maced one of them and the kid almost gets hit by a car. And he got made out to be the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Why you maced him? He almost got hit by a car. If he would have got killed by a driver, we would have had to kill you type shit. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward about a week or so later, we at this point where they chasing him, me and my baby brother, well, mainly him. So I said, you know what? You can see my house. You can see my crib from where we was at. Just run over there. Run onto the porch, knock on the door, you safe. You ain't gotta worry about nothing. And from there, we can get you to the crib, man. And, he just broke out. He bunked out, running. He gets to my crib, you know what I'm saying? They look at me and my baby brother, they keep it pushing and chase him up to the house to the point where they run up on the fucking porch like they was gonna run up in the house or some shit, not knowing that my older brothers and my pops and my older cousins and shit, god brother, they all there at the crib chilling, you know what I'm saying, shooting shit, smoking bud, drinking 40s and shit, you know what I'm saying? This is the fucking late 90s, you know what I mean? Like, it was that time. So he was safe at that point, and I'm coming up, bringing the rear end, and they like, what's going on? And the niggas like, yo, you know what I'm saying, he makes my homeboy, you know what I'm saying, he wanted his round. And you know what I'm saying, my older brothers, man, shout out to Sonic Boom and shout out to E-Dub, nigga, OGs, you know what I'm saying? And they was like, well, y'all ain't about to just jump him, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Whoever he got his problem with, y'all gonna let him get their one-on-one, and that's gonna be that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? They called out the cat that he originally maced. You know what I'm saying? He's the one who really had the problem at that point, even though the problem pretty much started from nowhere and him having like a better household compared to the rest of these niggas, right? So it got to a point where all of these niggas is on Detroit, nigga. It's like a dozen cats, right? And it's like 6 grown ass niggas on the porch, you know what I'm saying, at my crib. This is all happening in my front yard, man. And they was like, he gonna get his one-on-one. Now, everybody know that my homeboy takes karate classes or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I tried doing karate classes when I was in the 1st grade, but that shit wasn't really for me. They wanted me to memorize a poem or like a page-long poem. And my reading, like I could read, but I wasn't able to memorize a whole fucking page poem at that time, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? It was that time. So, I ended up, you know what I'm saying, dropping that shit, and, you know what I'm saying, but not saying we was in the same class or whatever, but he was taking karate classes himself. I'm talking about my best friend at the time. So, they knew that, and I think that was the reason they was jumping him, because once that one-on-one started, because, you know what I'm saying, my older brothers and them like, y'all ain't gonna jump in, we gonna whoop y'all little ass. And long story short, my homeboy kicked the dude ass, you know what I'm saying, like right there in front of his homeboys and everything, like sent packing, you know what I'm saying, holding the side of his head and shit, you know what I mean, like the only reason it didn't, get a lot worse was because my homeboy was working on a point system, like he would hit him, he would get a clean hit off on him, and then he would step back, because that's what he was taught as far as competition wise. Like if he would have, when he clocked him that first time, if he would have just jumped on his ass, he would have beat the shit out of him. We would have had to pull him off of him. But, after that was all said and done, they pretty much knew, which I think they knew from the jump, that they gonna have to jump him in order to get over on him, because he got hands and he got feet. You know what I mean? And the moral of the story is one, to protect yourself. Always carry protection when you coming up in these rough ass neighborhoods. You know what I mean? The second thing is to learn how to protect yourself and defend yourself. And the third thing is, don't let nobody motherfucking bully you, chase you, or punk you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta fight for your right to live as a human being. And even if you a kid, the only way you gonna be able to become a man is if you motherfucking make it to that point in time. And you're never gonna make it there if you let somebody punk you and just decide how you're gonna live your life. And you know what I'm saying? He ended up moving away. He ended up moving with his dad. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he was staying with his mom. He ended up moving with his dad. And, I really didn't see him that much anymore after that. But he did thank me and my family for looking out for him. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we supposed to do as brothers. You know what I mean? We supposed to look out for one another and not, tear each other down. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's one thing to poke fun and kid and joke, do the dozens or whatever you want to call it, crack. But, when it gets to the point where, that you got 2-3 guys jumping on one person and he can't really defend himself at that point, it's like, yo, what the fuck is you doing, man? And to be honest, if you know the names or you were there, you know what happened to a lot of them niggas that was at that motherfucking scene, man. A lot of them motherfuckers is locked up, fucked up, or buried. Straight up. And I felt that I needed to share this story because I saw that shit on World Star, which shout out to Kid Organic, because otherwise I wouldn't have seen that shit. I don't fuck with World Star, you know what I mean? That shit is like the Black Jerry Springer, you know what I mean? Like, fuck that shit. And I felt like this needed to be shared because not everybody know exactly what to do in that position. And what I'm telling you to do is, man, you gotta carry some type of protection, mace or whatever, and learn how to defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers, they living with their mamas. Their mamas got rid of the daddies because of the welfare system and how that shit is set up. So they don't have anybody there to teach them how to throw hands like I had my older brothers, going to the body with me. That shit wasn't popping off with me. But there's, quote unquote weaker individuals who don't have that same guidance. And, just make sure to, say something about it and call it out and, get some help if need be, because it's not right. This hyena culture, this shit ain't where it's at, and I ain't fucking with it. And I just want to let that be known that if you embrace hyena culture, then you gonna get motherfucking ate by the lions. Straight up. I am El Boogie the Man. This is episode of the podcast, I guess you would call it, or my commentary, the way I see it. And if you like it, you know what I'm saying, like it and subscribe, follow, comment, give me your experiences in regards to situations you came across coming up. And you know what I'm saying? Let's start a commentary about ways that we can help cats that's coming up to overcome these barriers and these obstacles. All right? Peace, blessings, wealth, and health.